so what I actually want to start with is, before we begin, Australian traveller needs to be Australian stuff. So I'm going to ask for their favourite restaurants. Don't talk to me about French laundry. I want to know.
Chibari. Okay.
Okay. So I would imagine that your life's been a pretty awesome journey.
Yeah.
But I also would imagine there have been some really shit moments.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Can you tell me about a real low light?
Probably 2000s, just before the Olympics, sitting on the balcony at the MCA with my business partner Trish, and we lost a shitload of money in Darling Harbour. So we were about 350 staff, paying $500,000 a year in payroll tax. Darling Harbour was going really badly for us. We're about $2 million in debt. At that stage, we sat on the balcony and thought, we can actually wind this up and walk away and start again. But with the two of us, integrity is more important than anything. So the realisation, sitting there talking about that and saying, but hang on, these people are not just our suppliers, they're friends. These people are not just our staff, they're our family. So rather than do that, we sort of hatched a plan to shut down or get ourselves out of the restaurants that weren't working, to focus on Rockpool and come right back to the centre and take a lot of personal and financial sacrifices ourselves for about 2 or 3 years. And importantly, we got to the Olympics and just happened to be in the right time in the right place. There were lots of people. Mate, come and give me a kiss before you go.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So there were lots of people who didn't do very well out of the Olympics. If you're in the suburbs, all the hype about how great it was going to be was bullshit.
Yeah.
But I happened to have a restaurant in Darling Harbour, one in the Rocks, and the catering in the Rocks. And so in 2 weeks we made nearly $1 million, and it actually gave us the cash flow and impetus to stay in business. So then we shrank right down, just had Rockpool and Qantas Consulting. And then when we were just about to have a restaurant in London when the bomb went off, and we didn't, a couple of financial partners we had wanted to pull out, which is just like life. Doesn't matter if it's 2001, the trade centre or whatever happens. It's always doom and gloom for that period of time, but life goes on, and New York's as strong as ever, London's as strong as ever. But it was interesting because right at that time, James and John Alexander came to me and said, "We really like you to be the lead in this incredible."
Wait, who are James and John Alexander?
Okay, John Alexander is like James Packer's right-hand man.
Right, okay.
So the Packers came
Obviously, James Packer, he's my best mate too.
Yeah. James came and said, "I'm speaking for my father and myself and James and John, and we would really love you to lead the regeneration of Crown in Melbourne. We have this vision of it being, a restaurant precinct, a world-class hotel. We're going to build another hotel. We're going to renovate in Perth. We've got all these great plans for it to be, a world-class resort." So then I started growing again, and that's how it all came to pass. Now I have 600 staff, 7 restaurants, $1.4 million in payroll tax.
Nice. So do you think, is it integrity that's the key to success?
No, I don't think it is. It's the key to my success.
Right.
I see a lot of people who have no integrity whatsoever and are successful. And it's probably, I sacrifice wealth for integrity.
Yeah.
Because I could easily make another 5% out of my restaurants, but would never do it. And that's one of the reasons why James and the guys have me there.
Yeah.
Because I can create 3 2-hat restaurants in Melbourne and 2-hat restaurant in Perth. And
I didn't actually order this. Did you order this?
didn't you order a coffee?
No, but I'll take this. But if this isn't Brett's or anything, no, right.
No, you ordered a skinny something down there, or did you get that already?
Yeah, I got that.
I'll see, it tastes the difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sort of stops us from probably being, Trish and I being wealthy as what we could be, but we would never trade. And it's not the fame and the hats and the, whatever from that. It's the fact that we love what we do. We love getting out of bed every day. We love giving our staff goals which are really meaningful and creating great restaurants.
Awesome. What is the key to a successful restaurant then?
Detail. And it's interesting because Look, well, actually, the key to a successful restaurant is making customers happy. It's as simple as that. And there are lots of different ways to do that. But in a restaurant like mine, detail is really important. So everything. So when I'm designing a restaurant, we think about workflow. We think about where the tables are going to sit and how they'll create an ambience with themselves. What are the acoustics like? What's the lighting like? Some people don't think about anything like that. They just open a restaurant that's really successful. But one of the keys is service, because you will go to a restaurant that has okay food and great service. You won't go to a restaurant that has great food and okay service. So it's really about how you make people feel. And for me, whenever I'm talking to my staff and they're new, and even when I'm doing, like I've got a big staff meeting done in Melbourne, and I just tell the guys who've been with me for 7 years, they look, just glaze over and don't worry about it, but I'm just about to launch the new story again. But it really is all about not opening a restaurant, but opening a club. You have to make people feel like they belong.
Yeah.
They want to belong and they want to be there. And that's, the whole concept of frequent flyers and Qantas. It's giving people a reason to believe in the brand, to go to war for the brand, So for us, we open clubs. We want people to be regulars. We want to spoil them. We want to look after them. Brett said a really great thing yesterday, and it's really interesting. When you've got a group of customers, it's easier to spend money on them, keeping them, than it is to forget about them and then go out and try and get new customers.
Totally.
So people forget about that all the time. So the customers and your list, or your group of followers, and particularly today where you have so much contact through EMs and other means of contact through the internet, your database is really important because you can speak to your customers. They already know what you like, so you've got a better chance of getting them back. 99% of the time.
How long have you been working with Qantas for? Is it 16 years?
16 years, yeah. I'll be 17 years next month.
So you travel exclusively with them?
I don't travel exclusively with them.
What?
No.
Where is the loyalty?
No, I do. I travel 100% exclusively with them, apart from if I do something like, San Sebastian Gastronomica, where Thai Airways or Lufthansa was the sponsor.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I have to go on the sponsor plane.
Sure.
Every time I'm fiercely loyal to Qantas for one reason, is that I think of myself as an Australian. I'm incredibly proud to be Australian. I was born in 1957, so Qantas was, for a long time, and still is, I think, the iconic Australian airline, the government airline, the flagship. You see that red tail on the wheel on the wall, you feel like you're coming home. So for me, it's really amazingly fortunate and incredibly humble to be involved with such a great Australian company. So, I hate getting on another airplane. Whenever I do, I find myself being incredibly critical because I think our food's the best in the world.
Well, surprise, surprise.
Most people say that it is.
Better than French food?
No, my food on Qantas.
Oh, right.
Most people say that it is, and lots of our regular customers who travel on various airlines always say that we seem to get it right, and I think it's because we take the whole airline concept out of it, and we control it. So I've got 7 staff that work 55 hours a week just on the Qantas project who belong to me. So Matt Moran does the same thing for Singapore Airlines, supposedly. That's what journalists think. So he writes about, and I love Matt. He writes about 8 recipes a year. They go in certain flights, in amongst all the SATS catering, their chefs,
Sure.
right? And he doesn't talk to crew. I talk to crew, I'm on emails with crew, my guys are training with crew every day, and that's the success of it. Everybody buys into the Rockpool philosophy. So I think that's why we do it better. So, but when you look at our domestic, we have the best domestic airline in the world, there's no doubt about that. The East-West, Perth,